Hi, I'm Gary W. Moore, and I'd like to welcome you to our first edition of Positively Speaking. Well, welcome. People ask often how I choose my subjects, what it is I choose to write about. How do I write? And, I write from the heart and then edit with my brain. And that's the best way that I can explain it. When something is impacting me, something is kind of pulling and tugging at my heart, my emotions, I'll see things or hear something, and I write about it. I write from a positive, encouraging, uplifting, motivational point of view because that's the way I was raised. And I know from my years of business experience, my life in raising kids, and now with my 2 grandchildren, we all need to be uplifted. We all need to be encouraged. Heaven knows there's enough discouragement out there. There's enough people that would like to pull us down. There are situations and circumstances that make life very difficult, and we all need that, positive approach to our life. My column this week was entitled Speaking Affirming Words of Positivity in the Future. And I wrote this column based on the fact that I was visiting my daughter and grandkids and son-in-law in Sierra Madre, California this week. And we ended up going into a restaurant, a beautiful, quaint little restaurant, and enjoying a lunch. But while I was there were 2 tables, one on each side of us, that had completely different looks and aspects and approaches on life. And one of them I found alarming, and I after lunch, went back to my daughter's house and penned this column. So I'm going to read it to you, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. I'm writing this today while sitting in my daughter and her family's home in Sierra Madre, California. As I glance up from my computer screen, I can look directly out the window at the San Gabriel mountain range. Nearing sunset, the usually green mountains are reflecting a purplish sheen that is breathtaking. I wish you could see through my eyes and enjoy this view with me. Arlene and I have been here for about 6 days, and we return to the Midwest tomorrow. As I reflect on our few days here, I'm reminded of the mental health benefits of being in nature and with people you love and people who love you in return. I feel refreshed and renewed. This afternoon, we enjoyed a lunch at a quaint little cafe in Pasadena. The eatery was packed with families and friends enjoying food and conversation. Sitting at the table, I was in listening mode and was reminded by the diverse nature of the human spirit. Sitting to my left was a group of women. I'm guessing from the family resemblance they were sisters and their daughters. All 6 were talking and laughing at the same time. Joy was radiating from their table, and I could not help but smile. The happiness of others can be contagious if we're open to the experience. Their words were positive and affirming to each other. To my right sat 2 younger couples with 2 small children. Discussion at that table was different. It began with complaints about the unseasonably cold weather, quickly moved to a criticism of the server and his ethnicity, and then to the national political scene where one of the men was advocating violence. The entire conversation before I tuned them out could best be described as toxic. Nothing positive said, no rational solutions offered, but only angry criticism and violent rhetoric in front of 2 beautiful and very impressionable young children. Jim Rohn once said, "We become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with." Let that statement sink in as you imagine what those 2 young children were hearing at their table. If their parents, the 2 people they spend the most time with, were having this negative discussion publicly and in front of these 2 children, imagine what these kids may be subject to hearing on a daily basis. So it's important to note that child abuse isn't only physical. The story is told about the former Major League All-Star catcher Jim Sundberg. Jim was raised in a positive, uplifting home and environment in Galesburg, Illinois. After his successful baseball career, Jim did a bit of motivational speaking and shared the stage on occasion with Zig Ziglar. Zig recounted a speaking engagement with Jim in a prison where they both spoke encouraging, motivational, inspirational words to the inmates. After the event ended, Jim, standing near the stage, said to Zig, "I'm so happy I didn't disappoint my parents. My parents always told me that I would be happy and succeed in life. They would have been devastated if I'd have ended up in a penitentiary. As Zig ruminated on Jim's words, an elderly inmate pushing a broom near the stage responded. I didn't disappoint my parents either. They told me from my earliest memory that I was no good and would spend the rest of my life in jail. The prisoner stopped pushing the broom, looked at Jim, and continued, I guess we both lived up to our parents' expectations. Words matter. What we say has an impact. Our children hear what comes from our heart and out of our mouth. These words influence and shape their thoughts and beliefs about themselves and others. The words we say form expectations of their life to come. A parent's words can shape a child's future. So tonight, as I tuck Caleb and Noah in for the last time on this current visit, I'll choose my words carefully. I'll tell them how much I love them. I'll remind them how handsome they are and how successful and happy I believe their life will be. I'll tell them how proud I am of them and how much joy they brought into my life. I'll remind them how important school is and how I expect that they will discipline themselves and always do their best. I'll only speak encouraging words and positive expectations into their minds and a grandfather's love into their hearts. So what words will you choose to speak this week? Words can damage or encourage. The words you choose to speak and the impact they have on others is your choice. What we speak into the minds and hearts of the most impressionable among us will shape their lives and the future of our world. Choose your words carefully and with purpose. Choose to motivate and inspire. I felt compelled to write the column after listening to the two diverse conversations happening. At one table, the talk was of joy and happiness and love for each other. At the other table, angry, toxic rhetoric. And I remember as a young guy in college, selling my way through college, selling vacuum cleaners, I had a sales manager say to me, only emit words of positivity into the universe. And I used to think, into the universe, what's he talking about? The words that I say don't travel into space. The words that I say don't end up on the moon. And if they did, what difference does it make? But now more than ever, I realize that the words that we say, they travel. They travel to the ears of those who we may not even know are listening. They travel into the minds and the hearts of the most impressionable among us. And so it's so important to speak the words into our future that we want to happen. Speak of the life we want to happen. Speak of the success we want to enjoy. Speak of our positive expectations of our children and our grandchildren. Because on the nightly news, unfortunately in their schools, from their peers, they're going to hear enough of the negativity that enough to last a lifetime. So only speak positive and encouraging words. So thank you for joining me on this first, episode of Positively Speaking. Every week I'll be talking about the column that I'm producing and putting out. This column is appearing this week, and which is the last week of March, 2018. Next week I'll have a new column, but I'll also be going back each week and doing an older column. And so we'll be putting out probably 2 to 3 columns a week on YouTube until we get caught up. We'll also be doing some special editions about my books, Playing with the Enemy, Hey Buddy, and The Final Service. So thank you for joining me. Speak only positive and encouraging words into the future. God bless you, and thank you.